Hello everybody, and welcome to Let's Discuss Morrowind, a non-gameplay video in which I'm going to chat about your thoughts, my thoughts, and do some reading. We do have a bit of reading to do. I think we have The Progress of Truth, and this, and that. So we've got 3 books to read. But first I'm going to discuss like some comments that you guys have given me, food for thought and all that, and then I'll just discuss a little bit about how I think things are going to throughout the LP. So well, once again, I mean, these videos are becoming quite scarce because not that you guys don't have anything to say, but you all seem pretty happy with the way things are going, and even though I did sort of open the forum to suggestions and things, there weren't that many, which is good. I guess you guys are pretty happy with the way I'm playing in Karish. So I basically have like 4 things really. Someone suggested using command creature a little bit, and I'm going to find that here because they're 5 levels, 15 seconds. So like I can control a creature that is under level 5 or lower for 15 seconds, and he will come on my side. Didn't use that because I forgot about it. So yeah, that would be really good against sort of Quama scavengers and all that sort of stuff to give myself a little bit of a break, and you know, maybe he can become some sort of a controller, especially with mobs. I know I need humanoid against humanoid creatures, but against creatures, if I come up against say 2 Aelits or whatever, you know, turning one against the other, as well as casting a summon, I think would be very much in Karish's style. So yeah, that's something I can definitely look into. But of course, we have no money and no resources, so all in good time, I guess. But yeah, I did forget about it. And indeed, I used, I was going to say wasted then. I used the last of my mana on Magicka, even, sorry, on like levitation to get down from up there, down here. Well, I didn't need to cast it anyway, of course. You know, I could have walked, but I had an amulet of levitation. And in that instance, I forgot as well, and it would have been an idea not to do that because I have an amulet for the purpose of you know, when I need to be in a little bit of a rush, or indeed like that. And in that instance, you know, I was thinking closing the video and everything, and I just want to talk about forgetting stuff in general because, you know, it happens. And I suppose, like, you know, sitting there watching it, and I know because, you know, I do watch videos as well as make them, obviously, and when people sort of miss stuff, when people forget stuff, it's easy to do when you're streaming or when you're Let's Playing, because you're playing the game and you're chatting and your attention is divided, and you got a lot of things, you know, you got to think about when do I have to stop recording, what am I going to do now, what am I going to say, what are people going to think, and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty much an excuse / reason for forgetting stuff, as well as only playing for, you know, once a week, which this is part and parcel of how I'm doing this. If I get a spell 3 weeks ago, or 3 episodes ago, it was 3 weeks ago in real time, and obviously stuff happens in real life and stuff happens in the game, and I just forget about spells like command creature. I don't even know where I got that from, frankly. I can't remember where I got that from, so I didn't even know it wasn't an option. So yeah, I do forget things and overlook things, and I apologise for that, and maybe Karish wouldn't have. But then again, we could always say he was a little bit absent-minded and think, oh yeah, I do have that. I think it's an illusion spell anyway. No, it's conjuration. It's conjuration. So that would have been a very good spell to cast, because we need to get this, of course, up to 50 so we can continue on with the House Tilvani thing. But yes, Grand and stuff and all that jazz. Someone also suggested installing a mod called Blight Bounties, which means that the temple will pay you for every blighted creature that you kill, and did give some good reasoning behind it, because Karish is going to come across these creatures anyway, and he doesn't like disease, so it would sort of like be a little bit of a bonus for him as well, with some income, which he badly needs, even though he doesn't seem to realise it. But I'm not going to, because if I install that, then someone else is going to come along and say, can you install that and install that. I made an exception with the Tel Irvith mods because I felt that they were really play a major part in the development of the character and the game. I don't see these little add-ons as doing that, beneficial as it would be. You know, when would it stop after that point? So no more mods, even though I said that before. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to go with any more, because I could just add and add and add and add until I break the game, which is what I'm kind of worried about doing. And if I continuously add stuff, then it breaks the integrity of the game. Things alter that went there before and everything, so I'm just going to kind of leave it as it is, so we have a level playing field throughout the whole series. So my thoughts, really, because I mean, and also I want to thank you all for, before I get into my thoughts and my bits, for watching and enjoying, and continuing to be invested in Karish's tale. It's quite good, really, that you guys are kind of into it, and I haven't got much feedback in terms of like you should do this or that, which is nice, because it shows that you guys kind of accept the way that things are. And I guess if you made it this far, you're more or less into it for the long haul. And that nicely leads on to my thoughts, because I'm kind of conflicted with the progress thing, because I think we have been making really good progress over the past couple of episodes. And that's just kind of a natural way of playing games, isn't it? You know, that's what you do. The last downtime I think we had was when we visited Old Ebon Heart, which was quite a long time ago now, and we didn't do that on purpose. So it may be the case that Karish needs a bit of downtime for maybe half an episode or whatever. But it's how to bring that in naturally into the game, because Morrowind never tells you, right, go and take some time off. Now Karish is inherently lazy, or at least he was supposed to be. This is the most active he's been in ages. Indeed, somebody did say that Karish would probably be in the shape of his life right now, and indeed he is, which I suppose is why he's leveling, because he was always a mage, you know, he was always able to do stuff. He always kind of liked dabbling in magic and everything, but he was always kind of lazy and maybe had servants do stuff for him. We know he likes his food, he likes his creature comforts and everything, but now he's been thrust out into the world, and he's doing all this stuff. Yeah, he's getting in shape, which is what this represents, I suppose, you know, how his speed goes up and everything, and how he's getting smarter and all that kind of thing. I think it works really well. But maybe he does need a bit of downtime occasionally, but it's hard to kind of work that in. Because we need sort of a touristy video fairly soon, I think, much like down here. But it's how to get over here naturally without him just saying, right, I'm just going to go and do this and visit somewhere else, which he could do. But yeah, I'm just a little worried that it would kind of be jarring. Now I think I kind of missed an opportunity when he got blight disease. I think that might have been a point where he goes, whoa, wait a minute, this is getting too dangerous, I need a bit of a rest, I need to chill out. So I could have done that then, but I'm kind of glad that I didn't. Indeed, I could sort of like retroactively fit that and say, right, no, actually we've had a bit of a close encounter in the last episode, and it was really harrowing, and we didn't like it, so we have to take a little bit of a breather. But we have nothing to take a breather with. Now I'm going to check something right now, which I know is kind of unusual, but I'm just going to... I might have to change something, because I'm not sure I can get to the mainland with these guys, and maybe I should be able to. We'll go tell more over there and just check this. Obviously I'm not going to save that. Yeah, there's nothing there that's over here, and I know it's a ESP file or whatever, because I think there's a city just there, but yeah, we kind of see it, so we might have to go and get there. You're never going to see this in a real I don't know why I'm going over here, just to see if I can, you know, spot it in the distance. It's highly unlikely. We have some floating things though. There we go. It's only because of the mist. So I'm really thinking about taking some time out and going to visit somewhere. Having said that, it's Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I haven't seen this before. Ooh. I'm all excited now. I should put this in the actual gameplay thing, because this is, of course, not canon. Yeah, see, it's just over there. There's just a city just over there. So maybe that is something that we should try and look at. Because maybe we can't really afford to go many places, but we'll be able to afford to go there, wouldn't we? So I'll try and get that working. And maybe next time we'll visit over there, and we'll kind of see what lies beyond this little bay here. Maybe that's what we'll do next time. Just a little bit of a break, bit of a breather, because there is a dock over there. That's just above his head. I think that's two ships. Not entirely sure. I don't want to spoil too much for me, but yeah, that's neat, isn't it? Yeah, cool. I could, of course, almost walk there, but anyways. So, what else? Anything else that it's just balancing the progression in the story, because this is going to be a long let's play, which is what I was saying about the longevity of everything. This is going to be a long ass let's play. So here's something I want your opinion on. Actually, it makes sense. There's a entrance here now. There's people arriving from over there, maybe. What about dividing this let's play up into chapters? We're still in chapter 1 if we do that, and there'll have to be like a natural point where we go to chapter 2, which may be when we get our stronghold, and in the meantime I can play other games. You know, I was thinking about, because people have mentioned The Witcher 3 and that's a long game, so I thought there'll be chapters in that, won't there? So why don't we just play a chapter of Morrowind, then a chapter of Witcher 3, then a chapter of Morrowind. I keep going backwards and forwards, but I'm not sure how much of a good idea that is, because I bet The Witcher 3 is involved as hell, and taking breaks from it and coming back probably isn't the best idea, but there might be other games that we can do that with. Equally, I could just keep playing this. It's not that I'm implying that things are getting dull for me. I'm heavily invested in this. Honestly, I want to play it more, and indeed that's something else I might start doing. Maybe we should start doing that. Maybe we should upload this twice a week, but then I'm thinking, well, if I do it twice a week, maybe I'll get sick of it, because I won't look forward to it as much. I don't know. It's all very complicated and conflicted inside my head about what we can do here with this. Because I wanted to do Tribunal as well, let's not forget, and that hasn't started yet. Probably because the level cap limiter for the Dark Brotherhood Assassin hasn't been hit yet. So, but there's that, and there's the main quest, obviously, Hellstop Arnie. Hellstop Arnie's coming along quite nicely, but we've hit this slight roadblock, so I reckon once we get a stronghold, things will... I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what will happen when we get a stronghold, because we might have to invest in that as well. But we'll definitely have more of a direction and a base of operations, which I think is really the next stage in our character's development, is to have somewhere to call home, and it will be a glorious home, Karish. It'll be worth the wait and all the effort. Trust me. So. Yeah, I don't know. But currently I'm very happy with where things are going, and it's a very challenging character to play. Very challenging, as I'm sure you can appreciate, with all his little nuances, and yeah, it takes a lot to spend half your gold on a pair of shoes you don't need. It does. It really hurt, that did, because if we didn't do that, now we wouldn't be in this little position that we're in. But that's just part and parcel of, it adds the element of the unknown. And me feeling the desperation that Karish isn't is kind of interesting, because Karish is completely oblivious that he's in kind of dire straits right now. No money, no magicka. But I think I'm going to make an effort to try and pop over there next episode, because we caught Blight Disease. We had a horrible, horrible freaking time in that mine, egg farm thing. So, yeah, we're not we might think actually we need to go somewhere else, somewhere new. And new for Karish would be new for me. It was in that wherever the hell that place is over there. Alright then, so I'm going to take a little jump cut and then we're going to start reading some books. Alrighty. Put the back over there, thank you very much. So we'll start with Breathing Water. By Halil Merm. He walked through the dire, crowded streets of Balfell, glad to be among so many strangers. In the wars of Vivek, he had no such anonymity. They knew him to be a smuggler, but here he could be anyone. A lower-class salt peddler, perhaps, a student even. Some people even pushed against him, as he walked past as if to say, "We would not dream of being so rude as to acknowledge that you don't belong here." Serene Relas was not... Serene? I'm going to get this right now. It is Serene, isn't it? Strange name, but Serene Relas was not in any of the taverns. But he knew she was somewhere. Okay, so Serene, right, I thought that Serene was he. But yeah, Serene is a girl's name, that makes sense. Was not in any of the taverns. But he knew she was somewhere, perhaps behind a tenement window or poking around in a dunghill for an exotic ingredient of some spell or another. He knew little of the way of sorceresses, but that they always seemed to be doing something eccentric. Because of this prejudice, he nearly passed by the old dumber woman having a drink from a well. It was too prosaic, but he knew from the look of her that this was Serene Relis, the great sorceress. "I have gold for you," he said to her back, "if you will teach me the secret of breathing water." She turned around. A wide, wet grin stretched across her weathered features. "It ain't breathing it, boy. It's just having a drink." "I ain't breathing it, boy. I'm just having a drink." "Don't mock me," he said stiffly. "Either you're Serene Relas, and you will teach me the spell of breathing water, or you aren't. Those are the only possibilities." I'm sure I recognise his name. She might be an NPC in the actual game. She may have been in the Mages Guild. If you're going to learn to breathe water, you're going to have to learn there are more possibilities than that, boy. The School of Alteration is all about possibilities, changing patterns, making things be what they could be. Maybe I ain't Serene Relas, but I can teach you how to breathe water. She wiped her mouth. She wiped her mouth dry. Or maybe I am Serene Relas and I won't. Or maybe even I can teach you to breathe water, but you can't learn. I'll learn, he said simply. Why don't you just buy yourself a spell of water breathing, or a potion over at the Mages Guild, she asked. That's how it's generally done. They're not powerful enough, he said. I need to be underwater for a long time. I'm willing to pay whatever you ask, but I don't want any questions. I was told you could teach me. What's your name, boy? That's a question, he repeated. His name was Tharian Winloth, but in Vivek they called him the Tall Man. His job, such as it was collecting a percentage of the loot from the smugglers when they came into the harbour to bring to his boss in the commoner tongue. Of a value of that percentage, he earned another percentage. In the end, it was very small indeed. He had scarcely any gold of his own, and what he had, he gave to Serene Relas. The lessons began that very day. The sorceress brought her pupil, who she simply called Boy, out to a low sandbank along the sea. I will teach you a powerful spell for breathing water, she said, but you must become a master of it. As with all spells and all skills, the more you practice, the better you get. Even where that ain't enough, to achieve true mastery, you must understand what it is you're doing. It ain't simply enough to perform the perfect thrust of a blade, you must also know what you are doing and why. That's common sense, said Tharian. Yes, it is, said Serene, closing her eyes. But the spells of alteration are all about uncommon sense. The infinite possibilities, breaking the sky, swallowing space, dancing with time, setting ice on fire, believing that the unreal may become real. You must learn the rules of the cosmos and then break them. That sounds very difficult, replied Tharian, trying to keep a straight face. Serene pointed to the small silver fish darting along the water's edge. They don't find it so. They breathe water just fine. But that's not magic. That's what I'm saying to you, boy. What I'm saying to you, boy, is that it is. For several weeks, Serene drilled her student, and the more he understood about what he was doing, the more he practiced. the longer he could breathe underwater. When he found that he could cast the spell for as long as he needed, he thanked the sorceress and bade her farewell. "There is one last lesson I have to teach you," she said. You must learn that desire is not enough. The world will end your spell no matter how good you are, and no matter how much you want it. That's a lesson I am happy not to learn," he said, and left at once for the short journey back to Vivek. The wharfs were much the same, with the same smells, the same sounds, and the same characters. His boss had found a new tollman, he learned from his mates. They were still looking out for the smuggler ship Mudderung, but they had given up hope of ever seeing it. Tharion knew they would not. He had seen it sink from the wharf some time ago. On a moonless night, he cast his spell and dove into the thrashing purple waves. He kept his mind on the world of possibilities, that books could sing, that green was blue, that the water was air, that every stroke and kick brought him closer to a sunken ship filled with treasure. He felt magicka surge all around him as he pushed his way deeper down. Ahead, he saw a ghostly shadow of the Morrowind, its mast billowing in the wind of the deep water currents. He also felt his spell beginning to fade. He could break reality long enough to breathe water all the way back to the surface, but not enough to reach the ship. The next night he dove again, and this time the spell was stronger. He could see the vessel in detail, clouded over and dusted in sediment. The wound in its hull where it struck the reef. A glint of gold beckoned from within, but still he felt reality closing in, and he had to surface. The third night he made it into the steerage, past the bloated corpses of the sailors, nibbled and picked apart by fish, their glassy eyes bulging, their mouths stretched open. Had they only known the spell, he thought briefly, but his mind was more occupied by the gold scattered along the floor, the boxes that contained them shattered. He considered scooping as much as he could carry into his pockets, but a sturdy iron box seemed to bespeak more treasures. On the wall was a row of keys. He took each down and tried it on the locked box, but none opened it. One key, however, was missing. Thaleen looked around the room. Where could it be? His eyes went to the corpse of one of the sailors, floating in a dance of death not that far from the box. His hands tightly clutching something. It was a key. When the ship had begun to sink, the sailor had evidently gone for the iron box. Whatever was in it had to be very valuable. Thaleen took the sailor's key and opened the box. It was filled with broken glass. He rummaged around until he felt something solid, and pulled out 2 flasks of some kind of wine. He smiled as he considered the foolishness of the poor alcoholic. This was important to the sailor out of all the treasure of the Morrowind. Then suddenly, Thelian Winloth felt reality. He had not been paying attention to the grim, tireless advance of the world in his spell. It was fading away, and his ability to breathe. It was fading away. His ability to breathe water. There was no time to surface. There was no time to do anything. As he sucked in, his lungs filled with cold, briny water. A few days later, the smugglers working on the wharf came upon the drowned body of the former tollman. Finding a body in the water in Vivek was not in itself noteworthy, but the subject that they discussed over many bottles of Flynn was how did it happen that he drowned with 2 potions of water breathing in his hands. Yes. You kind of knew that dude was going to die, but yeah, this name here definitely rings a bell. Which is in Balfell here. Still, I can't help but think this is familiar. I might look it up later. Okay. Next. This one. Maybe not. The homilies of Blessed Amalexia, Sotha Sil and the Scribs. Young Sotha Sil, I'm just going to call him Sotha, was playing in the egg mines. While playing in the egg mines, saw a number of Scribs in a deep shaft, and he began to cast stones upon them, snickering as they skittered and scattered, until one of the Scribs, lifting its head up in agony, cried out to Sotha, "Please, please, have mercy, little boy, for what is sport to you is suffering and death to us." and so Sotho discovered that the idle amusements of one may be the solemn tortures of another. Lord Vivek and the contentious beasts, a Shalk and a Kaguti, were strutting back and forth in a foider, casting aspersions of one another's looks. You're like the ugliest creature alive, the Shalk told the Kaguti. No, you are the ugliest creature alive, the Kaguti told the Shalk, for each thought himself most handsome and the other most ugly. Then Lord Vivek chanced by and settled their dispute. No, you are both the ugliest creatures alive, and I will not have my pleasant sojourn spoiled by your unseemly squabbling. So he dealt them both mighty blows, shattering their skulls and silencing their arguments, and went merrily upon his way. And thus Lord Vivek proved that ugliness is as much in one's manner as in one's appearance. The Boiled Kaguti. It is said that if a Kaguti steps into a boiling pool, he will leap out immediately to avoid harm. But if the Kaguti was standing in a pool and a wizard slowly raises the temperature, measure by measure, to boiling, the Kaguti will simply calmly stand in place until he is boiled. Thus we see that we must be alert not only to the obvious danger, but also to the subtle degrees by which change may result in danger. The real life version of that is that a frog will do the same thing. The Dubious Healer. Once upon a time, a Tilvani issued forth from his tower and proclaimed to all the world that he was a mighty and learned healer, master of all alchemy and potions, and able to cure all diseases. Lord Vivek looked upon this wizard and listened to his boasting, and then asked him, "How can you pretend to prescribe for others to cure all diseases when you are unable to cure yourself of your own manifest arrogance and foolishness?" Deep. The Gwa and the Mudcrabs. The Gwa was so tormented by the other creatures that they did not know where to go. As soon as they saw a single beast approach them, off they dashed in terror. One day they saw a pack of Nyx hounds ranging about, and in desperate panic, all the Gwa scuttled off towards the sea, determined to drown themselves rather than live in such a continual state of fear. But just as they got near the shoreline, a colony of mudcrabs, frightened in turn by the approach of the Gwa, scuttled off and threw themselves into the water. "Truly," said one of the Gwa, "things are not so bad as they seem, for there is always someone worse off than you." The Wounded Netch. A wounded Netch lay himself down in a quiet corner of its feeding ground. His healthy companions came in great numbers to inquire after his health, yet each one helped himself to a share of the fodder that had been placed there for his use, so that the poor Netch died, not from his wounds, but from the greed and carelessness of his erstwhile friends. And so it is clear that thoughtless companions may bring more harm than help. Well, they were quite nice, weren't they? I wonder if they're like all based on real life stories, but I only knew about the frog one, and that wasn't really a story. Don't know. Alright, haven't we read The Progress of Truth? We have. Alright, we don't have to do that one then. Oh, we're done then. Because that was part of the trip to Vivek. So we only have the 2 books. Now, I can't help but notice that we now have 3 books to sell, which will be a big help. Though where to sell them in this place, I don't know. Maybe back over there, but we'll have to work on that next time when we return to Morrowind. Until then, thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this little break, I suppose, and I shall see you all on Sunday for some more of this, and we'll see where Karish goes. Maybe over there. Until then, take care and toodaloo.